We've been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to get out here and enjoy it, and I've got two buddies that I really enjoy spending time with that we've explored this area a whole lot, and just been real open-minded to what we would find and when folks tell us what you can and can't do, just try to look at everything with new eyes. And it had a metal cap with little cementatious rocks stuck to it, and we I threw it in the pack, didn't think much of it. Dave and I just carried on, had a good time. I got home, dirty, jumped in the shower. I told my wife, hey, I found a neat bottle. I opened it up. Before I jumped in the shower, I opened it up, and it unscrewed, and it was full of liquid, which I just figured was cave water. And I smelled it, and it smelled like turpentine, and I thought, well, that's cool. Maybe it's somebody accidentally dropped a full bottle of this liniment. And I saw in it there was like a piece of rolled up something, and it could have been, I thought at the time, maybe like a liniment, maybe it was eucalyptus leaf or cinnamon or something like that, or spearmint. But it looked like a credit card slip, like back in the 70s days where they would turn purple on the dash. So I took it out and I slid it out and I put it on a window screen, and I was disappointed that it was blank. So it's blank. I jump in the shower, and my wife is used to me bringing home pockets full of rocks and stuff like that. And my wife comes running in and she says, "You can read it, you can read it." And I thought, what? You stole my thunder. I didn't get to read it. You read it, whatever. What did it say? It said, return, anyone finding this note, return to J.M. Hunter, Columbia, Tennessee. And it was written in pencil and block letters. That was really cool. I was amazed. The message in a bottle, and my wife, however she did it, was just, she's really just sometimes impressive with just the weirdest things, but she tracked this lady down. She was researching thread counts on the bottle, dated it pre-1935. She got on genealogy.com, somehow found Bettye Bell Brown. And the way that she found him was that her granddad, and I'll try to remember this the best I can, her great-granddad that was in the Battle of Donelson and was killed. Her family lived out near Page High School in Williamson County on family land. The wife went and paid per grave to have the Civil War guy dug up and brought home to the family's Hunter Cemetery. She lived with her granddad, Miss Bettye Bell Brown, lived with J.M. Hunter. When he was young, they moved to, at some point they moved to Columbia, Tennessee, which was, up until 1924, was Match, Tennessee. She was at her homestead when I met her. Julie found her. And it took her a while. I was so excited. I was like, why don't this lady call me back? I emailed her and stuff. And finally, when she did call me back, I said, what, Miss Brown, you know, it's pretty cool. You know, what took you so long to call me back? And she goes, oh, Jeffrey, I thought you were a Nigerian scammer. I thought, well, how do you even know that term? She looked like Martha White, just the most sweetest little Tennessee lady, right? So when I did meet her, she had a shadow box with his spectacles and his coin purse and his pocket knife and a spoon. And I gave her this box and told her this story, and I said, well, from my aspect of it, how are you sure that he never got a ride with his buddy and threw this in a well or a cave in Rutherford County where they're so prolific? And she said, Jeffrey, it was 1934, we didn't have a car, and he kept a daily journal. And she showed me, and the handwriting was matched. It was really cool, but it would say like May 8th, cloudy, move the cows, you know, and that type of stuff. She called me after we met her. She emailed one, but she followed up and she said that she found where Viney had lost a pail in the well. Yeah, and so like, I'm assuming that that's where the message in the bottle went in, or that's the best we've documented, is that in 1934, J.M. Hunter from Columbia, Tennessee, moved, or his family brought him back before his death to say goodbye to his great-granddaddy. And that's when he threw the message in the well. And then he passed, and I think Miss Brown was 78. I think it was underground 78 years, and she was like 80 years old when I met her. And she passed away in 2014. The message in the bottle went from a known spot in Williamson County, roughly 18 to 20 miles, I think, as the crow flies, and spent 78 years underground, which is alone. I mean, the guy had the wherewithal to write it in pencil, so it didn't bleed. He had the wherewithal that the turpentine or the liniment, the buoyancy was just such that it didn't break along the floor, the ceiling, in transit. It's a lot of miles underground to not break, but to have that connection 78 years and 20 years ago with a man to pass on a message to his granddaughter was so cool. She'd lived with him till she was 8, so she knew the man, and she had these artifacts. But I mean, it became an active dye trace for us to know where the cave goes with my buddy in stormwater management.